It's a miracle with me. That day 39 years ago, teammates then, golfing buddies now, Peter Farrell and Con Martin.
It's a long time ago, Bill, but I can remember our trip from Southport to Goodison Park, and we had a great run and all the officials and the players were singing "When Irish Eyes Are Smiling," and I thought to myself, my God, we're in for a bit of a hiding here against England, our first match. But however, as the game went on, we got a penalty, and lucky enough that I scored the penalty, and my friend here was absolutely brilliant, and he eventually scored the second goal for Ireland. We had a wonderful victory in Goodison Park.
Was it the highlight of your career, Peter, would you think?
It was, yeah. And for me, like, being on your own ground, and there's always, the first is always nice, and we were the first foreign team to ever beat England in England, and to think that it could happen at Goodison Park, where I was for 13 years, and you score a goal. It's like Roy of the Rovers or something in the Hotspur in the old days. Some fellow like that scored.
You were telling me, though, that the actual official description of the goal was slightly different to your own interpretation of it.
Yes, the papers all said I think it was a cute lob, but when you close your eyes and bang, and it turns out to be a lob, you go along with that.
I think you're being too modest. Well, what about today's match, then? Will it take another miracle, do you reckon?
Well, I think we have a better side now than we had. I mean, with all due respect to that side that won, I think that was a very poor forward line that we had. We had a great defence, and we needed it for most of the match. When you come to think of that forward line, Cormie, Walsh, Desmond and O'Connor, on the day they were marvellous. But on paper it didn't look that good. There was far better forward lines played for Ireland before that and never did anything, really. Yeah. But on the day they all performed.
And what about today's team, then?
Oh, yeah, it's a very good team now. I don't think Connacht got in as often as you did, would you?
I don't think so, but I think Jack Charlton has done a very good job
Yeah.
on the side, and I have an idea myself that our team will do very well over there, and I would like to wish them all the very best, and Jack Charlton and his team all the very best. I hope they do well.
And so say all of us. Well, I'm joined, of course, by our two resident experts, and that's John Giles and Don Gibbons. And I suppose, gentlemen, now that the talking is over and the time for action has arrived, do we have a team good enough to win, John?
Well, I would love to see the Irish team win today, but I must be honest, I don't think they will. I think England will win today, and I think the Irish team will give a good account of themselves, but I'd love them to do it, but I don't think they will.
The heart says yes and the head says no, is it? Exactly. What about you, Don?
Well, I think I'm a little bit more optimistic than John. I think that we have, perhaps not individually as good a players as England, but with the organisation and the spirit that Jack has instilled, that, you know, we're in with a shout, with a little bit of luck, we could be there.
Well, there are some, of course, fascinating areas of debate in today's game, and that's one, for instance, about John Aldridge. Why hasn't he scored so far? Is the balance of the team upset, for instance, by Lawrence and Brady not being part of it? And what will be the impact on Ireland of the skills of Lineker and Beardsley? Well, our two experts have put together a bit of film, actually, to illustrate these points, and they're going to take us through it now and show some of the impacts of the challenges facing us, and indeed our own game as well.
I think in this instance, you see, the build-up from Liverpool is a little bit more controlled than we would have, and John Aldridge is in at the end of it. He saved himself to be in the box at the right time. I think on the replay you'll see that as it comes up to Peter Beardsley, that's after it now, but John Aldridge is not in picture at all. He's not interested in anything except putting the ball in the back of the net, which is his good strength, and that, you know, which he does as good as anybody in the First Division.
I think when Ablett was on the ball there, he would have had to make his run up to the corner flag like he does here.
Yeah, but actual fact, there he is making a goal for Ireland. Although people are saying that he's not scored, I'm sure Jack would appreciate the work he's putting in for the side, and that was a position he's not used to being in.
But a huge contrast between his club role as a goal scorer and his Irish role.
Yeah, I think it's just a huge contrast in the team play from Liverpool and Ireland.
He's more likely to be in those positions for Ireland, which is out in the flanks, than he is for Liverpool in a more constructive build-up. Jack expects the ball to be hit over the top, and it's up to the forward players to go and do it.
Now, Brady and Lawrence are missing.
Yeah, well, this is, you see, people talk about Ireland using the long ball, but if you watch the skill with the likes of Brady in the team and Lawrence, they do come down a little bit on the factor of knocking the ball forward. Brady doesn't naturally hit the ball forward, and he has that skill element, and so does Lawrence, and not as much as Brady here in this particular thing. But with those two in the side, they could give Jack an extra dimension along with the effort that's put in by the other players. And that's skill of the highest order from Liam Brady.
Marvellous goal against Brazil there, wasn't it?
See, it's not about systems, it's about players, no matter what system you have. And this is just a shot of the free kick leading up at it's quick thinking by Houghton onto Lawrence, and Lawrence is a world-class defender, but Jack played him in midfield and he's capable of going and getting a goal like that. I mean, he doesn't score them every week, obviously, but he is capable of doing it along with his all-round play, and I think he's much more mobile and suited to the midfield player that Paul McGrath has to fill now with Lawrence out of the team. Here's another good part of the Irish team. This is how they shut players down. Every time you see, this is Poland in full possession of the ball on the halfway line. There's Galvin back in, there's Morris in. It comes again now. This is in contrast to what we've been watching in the other teams in the European Championships. They've been allowed to have the ball, whereas the Irish team now will go tight on them and force them into mistakes that the other team haven't been doing. I think Aldridge just making a run at them. Now, from having full possession on the halfway line, Poland, they lost that.
Well, in this clip here now, people are talking about Lineker scoring goals, which he is. His record's incredible. But a lot of Lineker's goals have been made by the individual skill of Peter Beardsley. As we see here, he's running at the defence, picks out the little chip, great skill, and puts Lineker in for the goal. So I think that Beardsley will obviously have to stop today.
But are we saying, looking at all of that, a bit pessimistic?
No, I don't think so. I think we've picked out strong points there from obviously Beardsley and Lineker. But no, I think that our defensive organisation and 2 goals in the last 10 games is enough to cope with those people if we get it right on the day.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to leave it there for the moment to take a commercial break. We'll be back to the experts and then going to the match immediately afterwards.
There's one Irish company that has reached out around the globe, Park. Tackling problems all over the world, running nursing homes, managing and staffing hospitals, operating Communicare, a system to help the elderly, organizing industrial health programs, crewing and supporting airlines, providing the management necessary to successfully run any business. Park, the talent to tackle any task, anywhere.
Being a student, like, you tend to spend a lot of time in college. It takes a lot away from my study if I hadn't had something to eat. So the only thing I know that can satisfy that hunger is Marathon. It's the peanuts, it's the caramels and nugget. It takes a lot to satisfy, and believe me, Marathon bars have got it.
It's the wholesome goodness of peanuts, milk chocolate and nougat that makes Marathon so satisfying. Packed with peanuts, Marathon really satisfies.
There's only one thing that really satisfies my hunger, and that's a Marathon bar.
Whatever you want to be, whatever your time in life, when you're ready to take control, we've got it all for you. We'll start you off right, we'll see you through, we'll do our best, we got it all for you. Irish Prominent, the people's choice.
Omega, European Car of the Year 1987. That's Opel, backed by General Motors' commitment to quality. That quality right through the range. Winners, every one. Take the Corsa. Now that's special. We put the boot in, making it the only car in its class that can offer you a choice of 3, 4, or 5 doors. Good. And when you see what we've done to this year's models, even better. You deserve the best.
Opel, Ireland's #1 supporter and official sponsor of the Irish soccer team.
DHL. 43 million parcels and documents delivered every year in 174 countries. Give your business the unfair advantage.
Now with PVA, the winning formula from Polycell. New formula all-purpose adhesive for every type of wallpaper, in handy packs and large trade packs. Do it right with Polycell.
There you go. Campbell's meatballs with pasta.
Pasta? What's pasta?
It's Italian, like spaghetti.
Collano tutti parliuti da Massato, inglesi, Stevens, mamma mia, che Bertucci, guarda tutto! Collo magnifico! E Bertucci, Sorrento, Maglianoni!
Pasta with meatballs, a new winning team from Campbell's, also with beans.
For style, flair, a perfect match, pick your best outfit from Hobbs Menswear Cork.
Welcome back. We'll be going to Stuttgart and George Hamilton in a couple of minutes, but first of all, let's go back to the experts. And I'd like to take up, John, with you the point. You're not as optimistic as Don about this afternoon. Why?
Well, I think we're a completely different side, actually, to the side that qualified. I think Lawrence and Brady gave us an extra dimension, which, apart from their own skills in midfield, it did free Ronnie Whelan and Paul McGrath to play at full-back, which gave us a really solid look. And with that team, I would have fancied us to win today. But with those out and Ronnie Whelan and Paul McGrath having to fill in midfield, it means we're really swapping Lawrence and Brady for Houghton and Morris. And I think that's not a very favourable swap.
Therefore, you have a real fear of the full-backs, do you?
Well, I think it's an all-round strength. I think Ronnie Whelan was an excellent player, and Paul McGrath, also an excellent player, really made us solid across the back, and we had Lawrence and Brady to give us that extra skill dimension in the middle of the field. And I think with that missing, we are not the side that qualified for the European Championships. I hope I'm wrong. I'd like us to get the result that everybody wants, but I fear that we won't be quite good enough to do it.
But what about the defence coping with Beardsley and Lineker that you've identified as the threat?
Well, I think that it won't actually just be down to the fact of Kevin Moore and Mick McCarthy to shut those out. I think they'll have to be shut down all over the place and squeeze them in so there's not enough space for Beardsley to get on the ball and turn and run at people, because that's his strength and that's what he'll be wanting to do. So if we can close it up in midfield and close people down, then I think that'll be one of our ways of coping.
And who do you see taking those central roles, for instance, and closing down the Beardsley and Robson, for instance?
I don't really think it'll be an individual effort. I think it'll have to be everybody closing space down. I don't think you can say Kevin Moran will pick up Beardsley, and I don't think it'll work like that.
Mm. And what about McGrath's role, for instance?
I think they've got to do what they have been doing, which is Aldridge, Stapleton working extremely hard up front, which actually saves Moran and McGrath at the back. They're never pulled out of position because Aldridge and the other players up front really cover the ground so well for them, and they really work down on the opposition, which stops the opposing forwards really getting on the ball in positions that they want. I would fear very much if Beardsley does happen to get either Kevin Moran or Mick McCarthy out in the touchlines, where they could expose a lack of pace in the Irish side. So it'll be up to Aldridge and Frank Stapleton and all the midfield players to get tight in England players, which Ireland are very, very good at doing, and stop McCarthy and Kevin Moran to being exposed for a lack of pace on the touchlines.
Yeah, that happened once before. Let's hope it doesn't happen today. All right, we've been given the sign. It's time to go to Stuttgart, time to join George Hamilton. We look forward to a marvellous game there.
The Neckar Stadium in Stuttgart on the greatest day in Irish football history. The Irish fans, 11,000 of them, as you can see, are all here and in one piece and in very good voice. And I can report too that when the Irish team took the field just over an hour before kick-off time, the Irish crowd gave a much better response to their players than did those in the red, white and blue of England. A memorable day. The atmosphere all through this week in Stuttgart has been building to a...
So what Donald Murphy is saying, that at the start farmers would be paying twice